Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. We did it. We made it. It is Friday, the last day of the week, roughly about halfway through the month. And the Bulls are carrying it. The Bulls are carrying it. There's consistency all over the market. We got the Bulls being consistent. We got you guys coming in here working each and every day. I love it. We got Albert in the house. We got Alex. Good morning to Andy, Bill, Brian, Drake, Greg G. Good morning to Jay, John. I always want to say Marcus, but it's Marius. Good morning, Marius. Good morning to Martina, Pete, Ron, Wally, Zayad is in the house. Good morning to all you guys. Woo! Let's get it going. We got Ron in the house. Ron's popping in. We got my peeps in YouTube land. We got Anna. Good morning to you. Rado, good morning to you. You guys are consistently here. I love it. I love it. So you guys are piling into the room. We got the SPY up, and now it's just a broken record. It's just a broken record at this point. That's it. It's a we're gapping up. What else? We survived bank earnings from JP Morgan. They look strong. I just flipped this over to the weekly on the SPY just to get a quick idea of really where the next volume comes in, at least on a weekly basis. So again, might take a little bit to get there. I don't think we need too much to get to this first one. That's 452.40. And then the next little spot up becomes probably about 456.90, 456.91. So somewhere in that zone. If we flip it back to the daily, let's see if there's anything else that really kind of stands out to us. I'm looking at 451.27 on a daily, so maybe a little bit more room higher. But if that one breaks, we have the Bears might want to try to at least defend. I don't know. if I was a Bear, I wouldn't want to defend anything. I would just let you guys take it to the moon, and then when it got like obviously stupid high like it might be now, be like, all right, now I'm going to come in to try to rug pull everybody. But I don't really see a reason why not. But I do think 453.53 might be a defended zone, and if that one breaks, probably takes us to roughly about 457.76. So the question is, where can we go today? I think all of those are valid targets with the momentum that we have in the market. There's not really any bad news. The only thing that might come into this market today, I think, is only going to happen after the bell anyway. And that is the announcement for the restructuring and rebalancing of the Qs. So the rebalance doesn't actually happen, I don't think, until July 24th, but they will be announcing it today in terms of which ones. And then I believe that should be after the bell today. So that's going to make probably some interesting pops, maybe some drops somewhere, but I still think all of it will probably be buy the dip opportunity, if anything. And again, maybe we have a little sell-off into the close just because there's something that we just don't have information for yet in terms of what they're doing with the rebalancing. So we have to see on that. Otherwise, during active hours, I think bullish is still the direction. And then again, maybe toward the end of the day, it's going to be a little shaky. I'm not going to be trading. I got to travel a little bit later today, so I'm not going to be around for the stock market at close anyway, but I would be a little cautious just in case. I mean, we're extremely, extremely bullish in the market. There's a lot of people now profitable that made the switch. I think there's still a ton of money on the sidelines, so don't get me wrong there. And I think there's still a lot of people who missed out on most of the rally for this year. So that being said, there's still opportunities to buy the dip and continue to move higher. But going into a 2-day weekend after the week that we just had, maybe somebody might be enticed to take a little bit of profit. I am Groot. Oh, man, I am Groot on YouTube says, what rebalance of Qs? What does that do? Yeah, so essentially that basically what happens is you have an ETF like the Qs, right? Or the SPY. They're all ETFs that are supposed to mimic the market as a whole, right? So it's supposed to get the best perspective on what's happening in the market. However, what's actually happening with the market is, as we've noticed for a lot of this year, And now you're starting to see some of these smaller guys move up, but they have positions in a diverse field of companies that would represent. So the Qs are more tech-based. We've seen 7 stocks that have just absolutely tore it up. Apple, Nvidia, Meta, Microsoft, and then there's 3 other ones that have just absolutely just ripped higher during this year, and the other ones aren't really playing. So the Qs are now not really representing what the actual market should be. So in order to kind of fix that, what they're going to do is they're not really selling positions. They're just kind of changing the amount of size of that position that they have in the portfolio to actually try to mimic what the market's doing. So it hasn't, I haven't seen it before. I've never seen it done before. So it's new for me too. How the market's going to react during the announcement, during the rebalance next week, after we realize, okay, here's the ones that should be weighted a little heavier in that ETF, and here's ones that might. I don't know how that's going to affect things. I really don't. But they will be rebalancing it, and I think there will be some outcome from it. My guess is that probably some of the my assumption is that we get a little bit more pressure on some of the big 7. But the smaller ones that we get rebalanced to will essentially probably get some kind of a boost from it, if that makes sense. But it's not a common thing. it's not. We'll take a look at the Qs. Qs, 3 Qs in a row is gapping up only 4 pennies. That's it. I thought this was 2023. It's like the Qs are not even trying today. It might as well be a negative day. Oh, there we go. We just bumped up another. They listen to me. Qs listen. We're in a little bit of a higher volume area. So watch this zone 380.24. If we start breaking 380.24, and you can probably give a couple of more pennies, 380.40, something like that. We start to lose some of that liquidity, and then most likely next stop takes us to 384.61. So in both spots, we have some areas that are very close. We could get rejected, especially after this big bullish run that we've had. But we do have a ton of momentum, and I think all those levels are possible to get taken out. And if they do, the next stop on the Qs would be about 384.77. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, there's definitely momentum in this market. I'm not doubting the bullishness of the market. It's just there's going to be a certain point where we get some kind of a pullback. I don't see it happening yet. If we come down a little bit, we start selling off. Probably we could get to about 376.85. That would be the spot I would like to see hold on the Qs. That would be probably the retest. That would be the buy spot. And then people will look to go from there. So see if we get any type of pullback at these markets. Again, big strong day yesterday, and we'll see if these markets wants to retest at all to give us some opportunities to get in. And by the way, when I say to get in, I am specifically solely talking about trading, long-term investments, a whole different thing. Pick your horse very carefully in this type of market. But we got JP Morgan. So a little bit of a gap up, to say the least. That is a fairly large gap. We'd have to see what happens, I think, when this gets to 153.25. Obviously, this gap is on earnings, but we've also run into earnings. If you go back to Delta yesterday, and I don't think it's the same, but we'll pull it up anyway. So here's what Delta did yesterday once it reported. Right? We had the run up. Earnings were good, exactly what we expected. I was even saying, I was like, and I was just not brave enough to short this thing down. But we did put a bearish engulfing candle in after, and some people are like, why are we selling? The report was good. Yeah, but they told us it was going to be good. So we ran up on that anticipation that it was good. They delivered what they said they were going to deliver. I actually think more of the algos were probably pushing this thing up higher because algos scan the reports and it looked like a beat on every front. So the algos go beat, buy. And then anybody else with actual money on the table is like, yeah, no, I'll lock you here. This is good. This is good for me. So we'll see. But Does JP Morgan do that? I think to some element at the beginning of the day, they will sell. I don't think, maybe they do, maybe they don't, but I don't see a bearish engulfing candle coming on JP Morgan. This one just has not had the same run that Delta has. So in that sense, it is different. Let's see if we can get some targets on this thing in both directions. Again, I let's even put that a little bit higher. Let's go 153.66. If that starts to break, then you're going to start seeing 154.91 and most likely start pushing up closer to about 156.73. I think after this run, we just saw what happened with Delta. I think people going to want to take some kind of profits. I don't see bearish engulfing candle come in, but a decent retest, even I would say down to 151.17. And then if that starts to break, probably looking for more of a full-on retest of the close of yesterday. So let's see what happens to the downside. I'm not opposed to taking this one short. I wouldn't be opposed to take it long too, but it's got to go actually a little bit higher for me to do that. So I'll be cautious with it. Again, this is the greed is starting to come into the market. I can see it. So we'll see what happens, but there's going to be also some people that I think want to take some money. So I play it either way. Depends on the intraday open, the setup. That's how I'd be looking to at least take the shot. So let's say I want to go short on this thing. I already said that the spot that I really don't want to beat or break out of is like 153.66. If I can get a decent setup where my stop is above 153.66, maybe I could go to like 153.80, 153.90, something like that, and I get a decent setup, that's at least worth the risk of the short. Whether it works out or not, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, up in this zone, I would be looking for an opportunity to short if I could. All right, let's see. JP Morgan, let's try to get that up a little tad higher. For some reason, it's not working. Maybe I can move Disney down. Now I just deleted Disney off the off the list somehow. I don't know. I don't know. Trading View. All right, let's see. We got a couple other ones. We got CNK. Ron loves CNK. I think that might be your favorite. I think you found a new favorite. A little bit of a slight little gap down. Yesterday was a Harame, which is a reversal signal. Typically, it's a little bit different where that should come in, but that is nonetheless a Harame. Again, you do have a little bit of a gap down inside day. You're stuck in between those moving averages. If you see a setup, I'd probably still think your risk reward would be to the that looks like it could also be setting up for one heck of a head and shoulders. I was gonna say probably to the upside because I thought this was a lot lower. This is actually kind of high. I probably wouldn't touch this one today, Ron, to be honest. I don't know if it gets a move either way. I don't see a catalyst of who's getting hosed, bulls or bears at this point. So I think it just kind of hangs out for today. Roku. The Roasters. We have so last night the Screen Actors Guild, in case anybody cares, they joined the writers' strike, and now the actors are striking with them. So essentially, Hollywood is shut down until negotiations are kind of met. The main part of that story, which I didn't know, is Fran Drescher from The Nanny, the girl from The Nanny. She's like the head of the Screen Actors Guild. I had no idea. I just didn't assume where she was, but I was like, oh, good for her. Okay, still doing things. I don't know. So I was looking at Netflix and I was like, maybe Netflix is gonna be a short. I was looking at this yesterday and I was like, maybe Netflix is a short, but Netflix is up. So Netflix is just kind of wiping it off the table. Roku and maybe Netflix came down. I didn't check it today. Roku is gapping up. I do like this one above these VPOCs. Still inside day. So I think if you're going to, I think you could get good risk reward if you are buying a dip. 76.53 would be my entry. 75.55 would probably be my stop on that trade. We will keep Roku gets me every day. Okay. But we'll put it on the list and we'll see what happens. But yeah, if we can get a little bit of a sell off, hopefully those two VPOCs, decent little support level. Obviously, we are bullish trending in this thing, and we do have two little kind of rest days. So let's see if we could buy a dip on Roku. That could make sense, at least in terms of risk to reward on this one. MA going to be the same. I'm behind on the chat, so I'm not really sure. Same as JP Morgan. I don't even have yeah, there's nothing holding MasterCard back. So far it's kind of gap. I just looked at it, it was above yesterday's candle. Yeah, same thing. I would like to see this one kind of come back a little bit, fade to about 401.75. If we could get a fade there, that would look decent. Stops about 400, and that would be a decent risk reward setup. It would have to break down yesterday's candle. This candle, by the way, is a retest candle. So while it is bearish and red, it's still bullish sentiment. And there was just profit taking on that candle. I kind of like this one. Let me add this one to the list. I still want to pull back though. I don't want to chase. Although this is chaser's market. The greedy longs are getting paid, but I still don't want to do it. I just can't. I just can't. Runs. Wayne, what's up? Good morning. We got Bob on the list. So Bob, a little bit of a gap down. At least before I went to sleep last night, the Asian markets were actually rallying a little bit. So I was kind of surprised on this gap down. I think some of the bulls are a little surprised. This thing, again, it has broken out. It has broken out pretty strongly. Probably does have to come back for a retest. We are below yesterday's VPOC, so I wouldn't go bullish on this one today. I don't think. Not at this price. I did sell some covered calls yesterday, so I'm not upset about the pullback whatsoever. I was getting $77 for 120 strike. I was like, yeah, okay. You could take my shares at 120. But yeah, if this thing rallies, look for 95.74 to be a strong resistance today. Otherwise, probably your buy spot. See if you get down to about 94.22. So right now, I think it's a little bit more short than it is long, but we are kind of toward the open of yesterday's, which is a decent bounce spot. So what I think would happen or could happen, or I mean, if I want to trade it, then it should happen. I can't. I don't have a pen today. Zoom is selective on days it wants to give me a pen. Oh wait, hold on. They just got it way up higher. There it is. Zoom is gonna give me a pen today. Okay. Hot dog. All right. So right here, I think bulls that missed the rally yesterday are probably going to want to try to come in. I think this could happen. And then either we get the double bottom or probably more than likely we break it and then we close somewhere around here. So if we get that initial bounce, this is where I would be looking to take a short, stop somewhere up here. And then that could give us at least probably a 1.2 into this. And if that indecision starts to fail, which we got a little tiny gap here, it could. I don't know if it does, but right into that 91, 92 zone, and that would make a really, really good trade. So we do have Baba on the list. I will be watching that one throughout the day as well. Probably at open, I'm not going to really be playing it either way. But if we get into any of the zones that I kind of like, then it's worth a look, I think. Shopify, strong day yesterday on the shop, but what didn't have a strong day? Just maybe not as strong as this one. The next one we look at probably will have a stronger one, which is Coinbase. But let me see what we got going on here. We are into a little bit of resistance. Doesn't mean momentum can't carry, but again, it's going to carry probably without me at this point. I would need some type of a pullback to some extent. Great close, very strong. The open looks like we are still above yesterday's VPOC, which is impressive. if you want to play this momentum, I'd have to be very quick to my targets, I think. So if there's a red candle, a little bit of a pullback, I could take a break on chop. I don't know if I want to let this thing run to 2 Rs after that move that we had yesterday. If we get a pullback down into about 68.71, that would give me a little more incentive to hold longer. So that would give me a better risk reward on my trade. But we are opening at a very, very good location for possible more momentum on shop. So heavy resistance is starting to come in a longer term picture. I think be quick with shop today. All right. Yes, all-time high. Plug. Nice gap, up 23%. Oh, yeah, we said we are going to look at coin. All right, coin is next. Promise. Don't write me mail. Angry mail. You can write me happy mail. Yeah, into a moving average. It is a fairly decent looking gap. Kind of good day yesterday. The bulls got essentially pretty high. That faded. So there is some people that either took profits too soon or started to go short and are trapped. That is a good looking gap though. I don't like that moving average right there. Probably one to put on the list. I don't know how strong that moving average is going to be. I would think we get some kind of fade and sell off on this one. A lot of these stocks so far, it's weird because a lot of these stocks so far, they're opening at good locations where they could continue to run, but then you're like, there's a lot of people profitable yesterday going bullish anything who's up even more today massively. So this would be one of them. Strong breakout candle yesterday. An okay close, but that close I kind of like better with that wick on top. It means somebody is getting hosed. And then we are right into a moving average. So we'll have to see on that one. I'd play that one by ear. I wouldn't be opposed to fading it lower though. And then if we start to break that moving average, that's where maybe I'll look for an opportunity to see if we can get something long on it. Coinbase has a lot of room to run. Target for today would be 115.96. I'm going to put this one very, very high on the list. Again, do I want to be the first one to buy this? Only if the trade works, then I do. If it doesn't work, then I'd be kicking myself like, yeah, it just went 23% yesterday. Why in the world was I buying it up there? So it's a Captain Hindsight will pay on this one, but we are opening below VPOC from yesterday. Give me some type of a fade pullback again. Very strong move. I think Bitcoin is still holding up. This is more off the court ruling. They actually got downgraded, by the way. They got downgraded yesterday before the open to $61. And there's never been more of a incorrect downgrade ever in the history of the stock market, I feel like. So we'll see. But give me a retest. This is going to give me a good risk reward to short here. So if you're going to go short to play this, your target is about 50% of yesterday's candle. Maybe that takes us to about, $100 is a psychological whole number. So maybe 100, but I could see 98.45, somewhere in that zone would be a target. And then having a stop at 109. So essentially you have about $2.50 of risk. Probably could get that a little tighter. And then if this thing fades, you could have a really good trade. I'm going to look to short Coinbase. I know I shouldn't. there's no, and then if we start making about a 50% retracement, it's got a ton of room to the higher side. But I'm going to look to fade Coinbase today. I'm going to see if I could get a little bit of that. Dog, not a ticker, buy a lottery ticket. Did we look at Meta? We did not look at Meta yet. And then we got Nvidia, Nikola. We got 4 minutes left. How'd that happen? I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to all these today. You guys win this round. You win this round. All right, so let me take this off. Meta. Indecision candle. It is a high wave indecision. Be very careful where toward the low of that, I would expect a actual bounce first. So I will go long before I go short. With the stop somewhere at the low of yesterday, somewhere about 310.20, and I'll look to go long there. Man, how'd you guys win today? That's crazy. This must be a lot of stocks moving. Let me take a look at Nikola just because I have not looked at that one forever. It is a high short float stock. It's also under $5, so I probably won't day trade it, but fairly nice gap up into a little bit of resistance. Expect maybe a pullback into probably this $2.41 zone. And then I think there's a ton of bag holders on that one for sure. NetEase, same thing, should be a retest gap. This one is in a little bit of resistance, so probably would fade this one before it goes long. Longer term trend is bullish, so I would take that one. Shop lower than yesterday. Shop we did cover. What's the what's the fish to short coin? I don't know. Maybe a trout, something like that. What's the risk to short coin? The risk would be whatever you put on the table would be your R, and you could lose it all for sure. I would throw my stop up here at like $1, like 109.72 ish. I would probably go like 109.45. So take that. If you're going to look to short coin, I don't want to see two things happen because then I'm just dead wrong on the trade. So I don't want to see 107.58 break. I would love to see some kind of maybe bounce into it and maybe we get an even tighter setup. But if this thing starts to break the VPOC from yesterday and then breaks out of yesterday's high, I would assume that I'm wrong on that trade, whether it's a trap or not. It means that the bears, or at least that the people do not want to take that profit yet. So Coinbase, I think, could roll down. If I could get a decent setup, could still get my stop somewhere around that 109. I'll just call it 109.50. That would give me like, okay, I'm just dead wrong and I lose what I put in the center of the table on that one. Marie says, yeah, but don't get it twisted, Marie. She says, I'm up 100% on my shares. Fantastic. I don't know how many shares you own. If you want to do cover calls, if you want to let it ride, that is a great breakout candle. If you could get through, I think the next stop is about 116.45. There's not a lot in the room to in the way till about 160. There's a lot of room. I would not probably sell those shares yet. What I'm talking is strictly day trade basis, risk to reward. CSCO. And you probably are going to have people buy the dips on that thing too. Cisco, a little bit of a gap down, slight little support. So that one, good gap and go. Will that support hold? You got some moving averages below you. See if you get a little bit of a bounce and then maybe look to short the bounce on Cisco. Let me throw this one up a little bit higher on the list as well. Interesting move though. But yeah, that would be a decent short. I would be worried about the support. Need to get some kind of a bounce there first. Jenny says, I woke up being up 5R on coin. Man, that's a day you just go back to sleep. You're like, maybe if I go to sleep, I get another 5 R's. I figured the market out. You just you just don't do nothing. Tesla, good, strong, bullish run. I wish I held out day trade because we picked it at the bottom yesterday. Now market rips. I'm probably looking for a little sell-off on Tesla and then buy the breakout is what I would be looking for. Otherwise, everybody out there in YouTube land, if you have not already, I don't know why you haven't, but hit that thumbs up button, hit subscribe if you have not subscribed already. Be safe out there. It is the last day of July. You did it. You made it. We made it all the way to the end of the month. That is 1 week in the books. A lot closer to your goals, a lot closer to your targets, a lot closer to doing what you want to do. Nice little high wave on Tesla. So the break of that looks interesting if we could get it. But YouTube